What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the FF Ballbusters podcast. Thank you for joining us. My name is Eric. That's my co-host Will, and today we are going to be giving you our instant reactions to all of the games from today's slate. We are recording this on Sunday, right around 8 p.m., so we're not going to be talking the Monday night game or the Sunday night game, but we'll give you everything else. But real quickly, before we get into it, Will, you got something to say to the people?
Hell yeah. First of all, welcome back to the channel, Eric. We missed you. Glad to see you back here. But before we get into the video, before we get into these exciting performances, just want to remind you guys to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. That way you're up to date on all of our latest drops, all of the latest news, all of your latest fantasy football needs on this channel. We got a lot of watch hours, want to get our subscriber count up, so make sure you guys are doing that. And hit that like button too. Great way to get our stuff out there in the algorithm. But with that being said, we can go ahead and get into it.
Absolutely. So we're going to start from the most recent game and go in reverse order. And that also happens to be starting with the biggest performance on the entire slate. That's San Francisco versus Arizona, and Christian McCaffrey going nuclear in this one.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey having a huge game, 106 rushing yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, 7 catches off 8 targets, 71 yards and a touchdown. It's just absolutely insane. He's putting up the points that like 3 players would put up for your team. So if you had Christian McCaffrey, congratulations on winning this week, most likely.
Yeah. Yeah, if you didn't. Honestly, I'd rather see you screenshot it if you didn't win, because that'd be absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, 45 points. Christian McCaffrey making everybody wish that they had taken him at the 101. Jamar Chase drafters at the 102 in shambles right now. But that's okay. We'll talk about that when we get to the Cincinnati game. Let's finish talking about the San Francisco side. Brock Purdy continues to be a very viable quarterback, even in one quarterback leagues, but especially as your QB2 in Superflex. This seems sustainable to me. You think he can keep it up?
Absolutely. I think this is the way the offense is drawn up, and he just looks comfortable out there, and he's doing exactly what the offense demands of him. So he's just working with the pieces he's got. He's just got some of the best pieces in the league. So absolutely, I see this continuing. Mr. Brandon Aiyuk also putting up a great game like we thought he would. Thought it'd be a good bounce back game for him. 6 catches, 148 yards. Only didn't score. That's the only thing you're missing from that game right there. And by far the best receiver on this team today. So
man,
it's just exactly what you expect
he's
right
so
there.
Talented, bro. Yeah, no question. Coming back, if there were any concerns about the shoulder, he dispelled them. He's just so good, and you love to see this. I think there is going to be a little bit of give and take depending on the defensive coverages. It does seem like Brandon Aiyuk is more the man beater and Debo is more the zone beater. But they're both going to eat, week in and week out. It's just this one, Debo was coming off of the rib injury, and so if you watched our sit, start, stash, quit video, you knew that you should probably be sitting him this week or be looking for a different option if you had one. And if you did, hats off to you, because Debo Samuel didn't catch a single pass in this one. Less than 1 point in half PPR leagues.
Yeah, not a great day for Debo owners. And not a great day for Kittle owners either. Didn't do too great either. So not every piece was able to find some success out there, but the ones who did found a lot. And somebody notable on the Arizona side of the ball I wanted to kind of bring up. Mr. Michael Wilson having a huge game today. Yeah. How do you feel about that in terms of his value? Because, of course, Dynasty, this is a guy people draft in like the 4th round of rookie drafts, stuff like that. So to see him have a game like this, especially in a game where they're, down, getting beat up by San Francisco, how do you feel about this one?
It's really encouraging. We don't expect Arizona to score very often. They still only put up 16 points in this one, but for him to get both of those touchdowns, that's not going to be sustainable, obviously, but the usage has been there. He's been highly targeted. He's been on the field for almost every single offensive snap through the first 4 weeks of the season. So yeah, if this team improves, I don't even want to say if the quarterback play improves, because Josh Dobbs has actually been pretty good, but we'll see what Kyler's timeline looks like. Last we heard is that they're not going to bring him back to practice immediately upon his eligibility to come back off of PUP. But yeah, I'm really encouraged by Michael Wilson. He's still not like an every week start or anything like that, but he's on the flex radar for sure.
Absolutely. And then Marquise Brown, obviously very highly used in this offense as well. 10 targets, 7 catches, almost 100 yards. So that's just 2 things you want to see out of right there. Otherwise, we got James Conner as well to talk about. still a volume play, but just not pretty for him out there, especially going up against San Francisco. So that's kind of to be expected out there.
Exactly. Yeah, this is one that I think we could have seen coming. It's a situation again where like we talked about, we'd still like to see more passing game usage for Connor. But with Josh Dobbs being mobile and using his legs a lot through the first 4 weeks, he just hasn't been getting the checkdowns that he got last year. And I think that's kind of the difference, at least the difference in consistency from week to week that you're going to see out of Connor, because he has been really good, but you're going to see down games like this in these type of game scripts.
Absolutely. And that's going to pretty much round out this game right here, right?
Yeah, I think we can probably move on to a blowout that we probably don't need to spend too much time on, but that's going to be Dallas versus New England, 38-3. This one got out of hand early and stayed that way. Dak Prescott, I do want to give him credit. I think he looked really sharp to open the game, but then they didn't need to be scoring any more points, so they didn't really air it out that much, and they kept it pretty conservative. So he was also on our sit list for our last video, so if you saw that, then you're probably sitting pretty because he didn't perform very well. But encouraging that he looked good to start the game, so in better game scripts, I think he could be a decent start.
Yeah, agree 100%. Same thing goes for Tony Pollard. There just wasn't much that really, demanded of the offense in this game, so nobody really performed too much out here. CeeDee Lamb was able to find some success, was able to find the end zone, but again, off of what little volume he really had because the offense didn't have to do much this game. And it's just ugly as shit on the New England side of the ball to the point where it's tough to really even talk about anything over there.
Yeah, I think it's a throwaway. Like, you play Dallas's defense, one of the best in the league, if not the best in the league. We told you to sit basically all of your Patriots. Not that anybody's really excited to start Patriots to begin with, so I don't think there's a ton to talk about. I want to bring back up Tony Pollard quickly. I'm not nervous. I'm going to continue to start him. You absolutely have to. But we've seen kind of 3 games in a row where game script has come back to bite him a little bit, and he hasn't really hit the ceiling that his usage would indicate that he should be hitting. Is there any reason to be nervous at all, or is this just keep putting him out there?
Me personally, I would just keep putting him out there because the games that he does perform and the game script does fit him, he still does perform. And we've even seen him still perform in games where it is blowouts. It's just, I don't know. It's really up to what the team wants to do on a week to week, but he's too valuable to sit out, really, any given week.
Yeah, absolutely. And also worth noting, Rico Dowdle, I think injured his hip in this one. Could miss a couple weeks. I wonder if the team brings in another back. I feel like with Dowdle out and Deuce Vaughn being the only other backup, or actually, what's his name from Tampa Bay? Is he off of suspension now?
Oh, you talking about Ronald Jones?
Yeah, is he going to be coming back?
I don't even know if he's still with the team. I don't know what's going on with Ronald Jones right now.
True. Anyway, I'm not worried about Tony Pollard, but might keep an eye on what they're going to do with this backfield considering the injury there. They might look to add somebody.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, Ronald Jones currently a free agent right now.
Okay.
But they could bring him back in, like you said, because he is coming off a suspension at some point soon.
Yeah, quite possibly. All right, but let's move on to the Chargers versus the Raiders game. If you guys were watching this one, again, such a Chargers football game, bro. Like, they had this in hand. The defense was eating. They're playing Aiden O'Connell on the other side. And then they find a way to still make it a game, almost throw it away at the end. But they do come out with a victory, their first of the season. I think the biggest news here, it wasn't a huge fantasy day for anybody, but I think the biggest news is that Justin Herbert injures his non-throwing hand. Questionable whether he's going to need surgery on it or not. The middle finger was splinted up. The rest of the hand was like bandaged. I didn't see the play, but I heard he got stepped on. I also heard somebody say that he got his finger caught in somebody's face mask. Did you happen to see any of it or have any more clarity?
Me personally, no. All I saw, like you said, I saw the pictures of it bandaged and splinted up pretty good. It's tough for me to look at football injury videos too. I didn't really see it. If I did, I just probably scrolled away from it. But I didn't see this one firsthand. But in terms of what I saw from it being wrapped up, it didn't look great, to be honest. But
Yeah, no, it looked gruesome.
yeah, it looked pretty nasty.
Um, but he still managed to perform on the day in a weird way, one that you don't typically see from Justin Herbert. 2 rushing touchdowns actually, and not a great passing day. But as long as he's healthy, you're going to continue to put him out there. I think you were right about Josh Kelly, still with a ton of opportunity, still woefully inefficient. Yeah, he's just not going to get it done for you. Keenan Allen being the only surprise here. I thought he was going to eat only 5 targets, 3 receptions, 32 yards, bailed you out with a touchdown, but a little bit disappointing from him.
Absolutely. On looking to the other side of the ball, Josh Jacobs finally able to do something with all that volume, making something happen this week, having a big game.
Yeah.
Still not scoring a receiving touchdown, hilariously. And then Devontae Adams. Wasn't he dealing with some sort of injury this game? He was going in and out of the game a little bit. I saw the alerts at least coming through. But
Yeah, this was a weird one for him. I want to say right at the beginning of the second half, he got tackled into his right shoulder. All the Twitter doctors were like AC joint sprain, probably going to miss a couple weeks. He comes back in the game, and like for whatever reason, Aiden O'Connell hadn't targeted him for almost the entire first half. He was sitting at almost no points. And then the last drive of the game, he comes on and scores basically 10 of his 11.5 points. And should have been more. Like, he caught a touchdown that they didn't call a touchdown. I don't know if you happen to see that, but he was coming out of the end zone, but clearly had possession and was across the goal line before he got tackled outside of it. This whole game was crazy.
what the hell? Such a Chargers game, like you said. But, I mean, other than that, in terms of fantasy, not too much to get excited about, really.
Yeah, there's only 2 other things I wanted to talk about. You mentioned Josh Jacobs finally having his breakout game, or not breakout, but finally having the performance that we would expect based on the usage. Could have been even bigger. He got tackled at the 1-yard line, and then Aiden O'Connell got the rushing touchdown on a QB sneak afterwards, and also got targeted in the end zone, caught the pass, but was just barely out of bounds. So could have been a monster day for Jacobs. It was a smash matchup versus LA, so I think that's worth noting. But yeah, he's probably back on track.
Absolutely. Then moving on to the next game, we got the Bengals against Tennessee. Not much to really get excited. We got the Yeti finally having a really good performance again. He's back. Good bounce back week for the Yeti for sure. Tyjae Spears still able to find some success out of the backfield as well, too, though.
Yeah, he was fairly heavily involved still. It wasn't entirely Derrick Henry. I did want to ask you about Henry, though. Mm-hmm. Like, last week, only scored 2 points, bad matchup, bad game script. He had the toe injury, all this stuff. People were kind of down on him. Do we think that this is indication that he is truly back and we can continue to start him with confidence? Or is this a position where you think he was on the decline, just so happened to get a great matchup in Cincinnati with a great game script, and you should sell high?
I would try to sell high if I could. You know what I mean? Because I do think this is an opportunity. Because, I don't know, it's like we've been talking, it's like it's hard to count Derrick Henry out, but at some point the wheels are going to fall off. And I think we've seen a lot of signs of that this year. I think it hasn't been a normal, Derrick Henry that we've been seeing this season. It's been a little bit different. So if this is an opportunity and someone's looking for a Derrick Henry for their team and they're looking to buy high on him, I would definitely sell him.
Yeah, I'm not sure where I fall, to be completely honest. Like, you're totally right. His snap count is the lowest that we've seen in his career. Tyjae Spears working in a ton. His efficiency is the lowest that we've seen so far in his career, at least through the first 3 weeks. I'm not sure what it's going to look like now after this game.
A good step up.
Yeah. So, like, we've seen Derrick Henry start slow. We've seen him have bad games in the beginning of the season and then just turn it on the rest of the way. So I don't think he's a must sell, and I don't think you're saying that either. Mm-mm. But if you can get a king's ransom or somebody that, loves Derrick Henry to pay you a ton in return, I think now's the time to do it.
Pun intended.
True. Didn't even think about that.
And then on the other side of the ball, things are just kind of confusing for the Bengals. I was saying years ago, last year I was like, the Bengals aren't going to be a good team. I looked pretty stupid for that because the Bengals obviously were good. But I was just looking at, down the road, how they were kind of together. But now this year, they're really
Just early.
struggling a lot. Yeah. That was just a year early.
Just a year early. um, yeah, I'm trying to figure out how much of this has to do with Joe Burrow's calf injury and how much of it is just that the team is this bad, how much of it is coaching. I, I tend to lean. Why can't I remember his name right now? I'm blanking on everybody's name. What's their head coach's name?
Zach Taylor?
Zach Taylor. He's always been too conservative, in my opinion. I haven't loved the play calling. I felt like last year was kind of a tide turned where they really let Joe Burrow rip. Maybe because of the injury, they're kind of reverting back into just a less explosive offense. But yeah, even with the injury, I would have expected them to take advantage of what's a terrible Tennessee secondary, and they just couldn't get anything going in this one at all.
Yeah, and Jamar Chase was clearly frustrated. I don't know if you saw those post-game interviews, but he was not very happy. Profanity was used. That boy was not happy.
I'm always open. I'm always fucking open,
Yeah.
says Jamar Chase. Yeah. He's right. He is always open. I'm curious what that means for him next week. He got 9 targets in this one. Can we see another 20-target game incoming for Jamar Chase after his comments?
I hope so. Honestly, I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I could see it too. Another guy, Joe Burrow, we were off of, at least in redraft this year. So if you stayed away from him, that's looking good so far. But yeah, not too many other takeaways from this one. You want to move on to our home teams game?
Yeah, this one was actually kind of a nail biter. This is an exciting game to watch. But I guess one of the biggest takeaways from this one, Sam Howell, out there performing pretty well. Jalen Hurts was definitely out there hooping though, able to make it happen. DeAndre Swift still in the lead back position, even with Kenneth Gainwell out there. He got a 2-point conversion though. They still let Kenneth Gainwell get a scoring opportunity. But DeAndre Swift seems to be the lead back still. So that's amazing to see. And A.J. Brown.
Cooking. He is cooking.
You remember when we were kind of talking and we were saying, like, maybe, passing of the guard. Did we think that was happening? And you and I were both like, no chance. It's going to swing A.J. Brown's way at some point. This is the point right here.
Yes. Yeah, like Devonta Smith is good. He's deserving of plenty of targets, but AJ Brown is the alpha. Like it's there's no question. He's the guy, and he's proving it the past 2 weeks. 13 targets in this one, 9 receptions, 175 yards, and 2 tutties. Huge performance from AJ Brown. Devonta Smith still got his as well. 9 targets, 7 receptions, 78 yards. So both of them were able to get it done. Another sit on the week, Dallas Goedert, coming out in our favor. Less than 5 points as well. But yeah, from the Philly side of the ball, they look good. They looked really good against what was supposed to be a good Washington defense. We continue to give up 30-plus points each and every week, so not encouraging on that side of the ball.
Yeah, it's tough to say we're a good defense when we're letting up that many points weekly. But the offense was playing pretty well today, I will say, on the more optimistic side. Curtis Samuel able to find some success. Terry McLaurin also. And Jahan Dotson making a big play at the end of the game, of course. Able to find kind of a bounce back this week as well. So that was actually really cool to see from the Washington offense. And Brian Robinson's still pretty successful this week as well.
That was going to be the thing that I wanted to bring up. Against this Philly front seven, like to still be able to perform, a touchdown did bail him out. If he hadn't scored, that would have made a big difference. But, that run was impressive that got him into the end zone. He created on his own. So, yeah, to be able to score 12 points against this Philly defense, very, very impressive. Absolutely. Let's go to Tampa versus New Orleans. Tampa in a big blowout in this one. I can't say that I wasn't expecting it, but I was expecting it for different reasons. I didn't think that Derek Carr was going to get the start, and then surprisingly, at game time, he came out even though we thought he was going to be out for weeks with a shoulder injury.
Yeah, I saw that hit. I thought Derek Carr was done for the season from the way they were making that whole thing look. But the fact that he was out here this week, that's a testament to Derek Carr and his toughness. But I don't think he was ready to be out there, as tough as he was.
No.
Because he did not look ready, and he was not ready. They made Baker Mayfield look really good this game, I saw this game and I was like, man, I wish I had Baker in fantasy, man. To be honest with you, just
Yeah.
to say I called my shot.
That's true. You were kind of on him a little bit. Um, but yeah, this was an impressive outing from Tampa. Baker Mayfield, like you said, looked pretty good. Very spread out performance from the receivers. I think that probably had a lot to do with Mike Evans going down early with the hamstring injury. But that allowed Chris Godwin, Devin Tompkins, Trey Palmer to all get involved. No huge days, but decent performances from all three of them. I think the biggest thing that I want to talk about from the other side of the ball, I guess there's two things. One, Chris Olave, less than 1 point, 5 targets, 1 reception, 4 yards. That's concerning. But then also Alvin Kamara comes back. Decent performance, 15 points, 14 targets, 13 receptions, 33 yards. How's that even possible, bro?
I don't know how you can catch 13 passes and only get 33 yards, but 14 targets is insane. So is that something we can expect weekly? Probably not. But also the fact that he was targeted this much means they do want him to be a part of this passing game real bad, and Derek Carr is obviously willing to throw it to him. So that's encouraging going forward for Alvin Kamara owners for sure. He's gonna definitely be involved in the passing game.
So let's break it down a little bit, because I think Derek Carr's injury definitely played into it. He probably couldn't push the ball down the field as much as he would have liked, and so that meant a lot of checkdowns to Kamara.
But how long?
I think you're right.
But for how long is he gonna not be able to push the ball down the field if he's out here playing like this? Is what I mean. Because
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, you're 100% right, and I think that's going to lead to continued high volume usage for Kamara in the passing game. He was also the workhorse as a running back too. I think we only saw 2 other players with carries on the team. Kamara handled basically everything in the backfield, so that's really encouraging. How much of this do you think is going to be consistent week to week for Olave though? Because it seemed like all of Olave's targets went straight to Kamara.
See, that is a question. Not being able to push the ball down the field is going to hurt Chris Olave. I feel like that is kind of one of the parts of the fields he works the best in. In terms of him being more of an intermediary target, I don't know why they would try to deploy him as that if they are throwing the ball to Alvin Kamara 14 times a game. So it's tough. But Juwan Johnson also went down this game. So that may open up some space for Chris Olave to find some more of that intermediary work, I believe.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. And I believe Juwan Johnson, what was that, a hamstring? No, calf. And it was a re-injury. He re-aggravated a calf injury. So that could probably hold him out at least a few weeks. So yeah, hopefully that opens things up and we can get Chris Olave more involved next week. But that's all I got for this one. Let's go to what was a shootout, an overtime thriller, the Rams versus the Colts. We had a ton of fantasy goodness in this one. Where do you want to start?
Hey, bro, go ahead and talk about your boy. We can talk about your boy first, because this one, bro, I'm not going to lie. I started him this week in just our league, and at first half, I was like, man, I don't know, man. I wish I had started Justin Fields. I had him sitting down there on the bench. And look at him, man. Look at our boy.
Look at him. Anthony Richardson putting up a 30 spot. You absolutely love to see it. Getting it done on the ground and through the air. Like you said, it was shaky in the first half. Things didn't look great. But Shane Steichen and that offense came out in the second half, guns blazing with the adjustments, ready to go. You love to see that as well. 200 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns, 2 2-point conversions, clutch to be able to get them into overtime. Also 10 carries, 56 yards, and a touchdown on the ground. He's scored on the ground in every single game that he's played in so far this year.
He's a grown man. At the end of the day, he really is. He's a grown man. He's just out there having fun playing football. So, and that really just comes across through the screen when you watch him play. So it's just, I'm really excited to watch his career, man. I really am, because he really is something special.
Yeah. But then a little bit of the negative side of kind of his passing performance, because he did go 11 for 25. None of the receivers did anything fantasy-wise.
Nope.
Very few targets for the receiving group. Everything seemed to go the way of the tight ends. We had 2 different tight end scores for Alec Ogletree and Mo Alley Cox. I'm not ready to say that this is going to be the week in, week out kind of pattern. We saw wide receiver production from Michael Pittman, from Josh Downs through the first 3 weeks of the season. I think we can continue to expect that. But I think there also is a chance that people try to copy the LA Rams kind of defensive game plan from that first half, and maybe we see a slight downtick in the receiver production going forward.
No, I 100% agree with that. And then taking a look at the other side of the ball, Kyren Williams still getting it done. Seeming to be the waiver wire ad of the year.
Yeah.
I don't even know what else to really say, man. 25 carries, 103 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 catches for 24 yards. Just getting it done all over the field. It's... like I said, I don't know what else to say about it, to be honest. I had a feeling before the season started, I had a feeling about Kyren Williams just because I didn't believe in Cam Akers. Just because of that.
Yeah. So I don't want to take credit for that because it's not like we said it too much leading up to the season or anything like that. I think we were both off of Cam Akers. I don't know that I believed in Kyren Williams enough as a talent to really be able to be a producer.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, if anything, they might bring in somebody else like a Jonathan Taylor, which could still happen. We'll see, although Kyren's producing quite well. I was hoping it was going to be, man, I can't remember anybody's name right now. Zach
Evans.
from TCU, Zach Evans, TCU, and then Ole Miss. I was hoping it was going to be Zach Evans, but he continues to be a healthy scratch, which is really annoying. But anyway, getting off track, Kyren Williams, very impressive. The usage is going to continue to be there. It's just the game script that's going to be kind of the differentiating factor for him, I think. And then, can we talk about Puka? My goodness.
He finally
Another
scores.
10 targets.
This guy's a fucking legend, bro, because he finally scores his first career touchdown, and in no greater fashion than an overtime win, fighting for the touchdown. Middle of the field. Dog, this guy's so much fun to watch. I haven't had this much fun watching somebody, like a rookie, in a long time. And this guy is like, he's proven like to be worth the ticket every week. Every single week.
Absolutely. Yeah, walk-off winner for Puka. We saw this big game coming just based on Indy's defense and what they've given up to receivers so far this season. But it really went all Puka's way. Tutu didn't do much this game. Van Jefferson didn't do much. Puka had to carry the load on his back, and he did just that. Yeah, I mean, this is historic. Through the first four games of the season, he has the most receptions ever, the most targets ever. Am I missing any records? He's just blowing everything out of the water.
To be honest, I wouldn't even be surprised if he had more than that, to be honest with you. That's just the way this guy's been playing. Yeah. And then taking a look at the tight ends as well, Tyler Higbee, 11 targets, so also heavily targeted in this offense, 5 catches for 64 yards, which you cannot complain about from a tight end at all. So it's a lot of success to be found there as well.
Absolutely. I think that will probably wrap up our discussion in that game. Let's go to another blowout here. Houston just beats the brakes off of Pittsburgh. Dude, Pittsburgh looks really bad.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Yeah, they're looking pretty bad. Just as a team, just the way they're operating. Kenny Pickett is ass. C.J. Stroud, really good so far, to be honest. I'm extremely impressed.
Good.
Most attempts, I believe, without an interception in NFL history, and like in his NFL career start, and completely blew that out the water as well. I believe he had like 51 attempts over.
Close.
Yeah, like 48 attempts over, I think. But insane, to be honest. I'm surprised he's getting off to this start. I didn't see it coming myself, so I do apologize, C.J. Stroud. I did not believe at first, but I am a believer now, to be honest. He's been nothing but just good, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, we liked C.J. Stroud in the pre-draft process. We just thought his situation was going to be terrible. But one, we were wrong about the situation. The coaching has been fantastic, and the receiving core has been surprisingly great.
Oh
like Nico
goodness.
Collins, fucking 32 points in this one, 9 targets, 7 receptions, 168 yards, and 2 tutties.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Tank Dell, who I will call my misses. If you watched our start, sit, stash, quit, I did say start Tank Dell over Nico Collins in this one. My bad. But he's been incredibly involved through the first 3 weeks as well. So that, the receiving core looks great. CJ Stroud looks great. fucking wheels up for Houston's offense. Not something I would have thought I would say in the year of 2023.
Absolutely. It's looking great for them, honestly. It's just they're out there taking chances. Like they're really just trying to let the young guys develop and just letting them go out there and play.
Yeah.
And this is what they're getting back for it. Yeah, bench all of your Steelers. Bench all of them. Najee, I guess, is someone you got to kind of start, I guess.
I don't know about gotta. I don't know about gotta.
With where you drafted him, you might have to. You might. Maybe.
I think you could still
You might have
find
picked.
a way to not.
You might have picked up Kyron Williams off waivers. You're right. You're right. But
No, yeah, roster construction is going to depend. I will say he performed well in this game with the worst offensive line in football so far. Like, he looked pretty good. He had some highlight reel runs. Still only turned that into 11 fantasy points, but that's mostly because Kenny Pickett is terrible and they just couldn't move the ball.
yeah. And then on the other side of the ball with Dameon Pierce, Devin Singletary, not much to get excited about, but 24 carries for Dameon Pierce does show he does get a large amount of carries in this backfield. He is the premier back, but I don't know. I don't really know about Dameon Pierce anymore. I don't know if I'm off the train or not yet.
I mean, they're just letting CJ Stroud air it out. He's not checking down too much. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call it a sell high. It was only 11 points. But if you can get somebody that's biting on Dameon Pierce's usage and kind of riding the high of Houston's offense, I'd be looking to sell if I could. And then the last thing I want to talk about, Pat Freiermuth goes down with another hamstring injury. He has a history of those. I don't think this is a re-aggravation necessarily, but we've seen him endure a lot of hamstring injuries so far throughout his short career, so that's a little bit concerning to see. He'll probably be out a couple weeks.
Darnell Washington season, baby. He already had a catch today. One catch, 10 yards.
Don't do it to him.
Don't
do it to him.
Fire it up. Fire it up, baby.
Let's move on. Let's get out of here while we still can. Let's go to Baltimore versus Cleveland. Tell him what you tweeted out, bro, because you were so right.
Oh, bro, all the people who were saying, hey, you need to bench Deshaun Watson and start Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Where are all those people at? Because they've been awfully quiet lately. I haven't heard from them. I didn't hear from him today. Where are you at? Because that boy went out there and looked like a high school quarterback. I'm not going to lie. He was able to get some stuff done, I guess. Not really meaningful, but,
Nah. He didn't do anything, bro. He didn't do anything. And like, I'm not going to put that all on him. This was a tough situation. Baltimore's defense is pretty good. And obviously he didn't come into the season expecting to play this game. It was kind of a late week decision for Deshaun Watson not to play. So yeah, I'm not gonna shit on DTR necessarily. But you're right about those people calling for them to bench Deshaun. It's ridiculous. But yeah, putrid performance for Cleveland all around. I think we should probably focus on Baltimore's side of the ball. Lamar Jackson, man, he is running it incredibly well so far this season. Not that we didn't expect that, but it's looked great.
Nah, he's hooping out there. He's having fun as well. 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns. Obviously, he's getting it all done out there. And that's kind of what we expected to see. We were, scared, a little bit nervous those first couple of weeks, but he's definitely hit his stride at this point, and he's looking to be in midseason form already. So I'm really excited for him going forward for sure. Because that's 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 straight weeks.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's eaten. And then another call out to our start-sit video. You called sit Zay Flowers. You were correct. I said sit all of the receivers in this game. I was correct. The only guy that was able to get anything done was Mark Andrews with 2 touchdowns, 80 yards, 5 out of 5 on the targets and the receptions. He seems to be back as well. Hopefully this can continue for Mandrews.
Absolutely. Mark Andrews getting it done because that's what he does. And then on the other side, we got Mr. David Njoku, the masked man today. Able to get it done for the tight ends out there, so hopefully you started him. We had a little funny exchange before the game started where we saw the mask, and Eric was like, yeah, he's about to hoop.
I mean, I was definitely joking. What did I say? I was like 9 for 2 after I saw the video of him coming in with the mask. But, I mean, he did end up being the most productive receiver on the Cleveland side of the ball, surprisingly, with burnt hands and face.
Yeah. So
props to him for getting it done.
Yeah, absolutely. Elijah Moore, 1 carry for -20. What the hell are you doing? My
Yeah,
fault.
did you see that?
I didn't even
He
see
just
that.
ran straight backwards, bro. It was crazy.
How do you
All
do
right.
that? Taking a look at the
Let's
next
move
game,
on.
we got Denver and Chicago, which features
Yep.
one of our starts for the week as well, Mr. Russell Wilson, able to still get it done with 20 plus fantasy points this week, 22 exactly. And Justin Fields with a big bounce back week. We were finally getting from him. This is what happens when you don't have Chase Claypool on the field. The whole thing opens up. You've got actual football players out there. It's just great.
Yeah, this is the combo of no Chase Claypool and facing Denver's defense, which
Yeah.
has just been horrendous. So, I want to say surprisingly, because it was their calling card and the only thing they could hang their hat on last season. But this is what happens when you continue to have a terrible offense. Like, defenses fall off because they can't continue to carry a team year in and year out like that. Although, I mean, they do win the game in a 31-28 performance, but both of these teams are terrible. Tough to take a ton away. Like, I wouldn't expect any of these big performances to really continue. Well, I guess let me ask you your opinion on Justin Fields and what this means for him going forward.
He's having a big bounce back game and a loss that's going to help them get Caleb Williams next year.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably true. I think
Yeah.
Justin Fields is probably gone, and I think this coaching staff is probably gone.
Yeah,
and
they're-
Caleb Williams comes in along with Marvin Harrison, because right now they have the top 2 picks in the draft in 2024.
Yeah, so that's all I really think about this performance. It was cute, but, you know, you would have hoped he got the win there because it would have at least kept him in town a little bit longer. That's about it.
Yeah. Real quickly, since we're not going to take too much away, but just want to shout out some performances. DJ Moore did have a big game, 23 points, 131 receiving yards and a touchdown. Love to see that. Cole Kmet found the end zone twice. Again, not super predictive. I'm not going to count on that going forward. Jaleel McLaughlin. After Javonte Williams went down due to injury, he kind of became the lead back. He was splitting with Samaje Perine, but he did get a little bit more work and turned that into 18 fantasy points. Big day for the undrafted free agent.
Yeah, for sure. So somebody definitely on, waiver watch, but, I'm not going to blow the fab on him for sure, but I definitely take a look at him. You can get him for cheap. Definitely go for it.
Yeah, I would agree. And then the only other thing I want to say is please give Marvin Mims more routes. He leads the team in receiving yards by a lot, and he's 5th on the team in total targets so far on the season. So what are we doing?
Yeah, we just need to we're on Marvin Mims watch. We need to get him more volume. We need to get him more routes because he is, like you said, by and far the best receiver on this team in terms of production. They just need to actually reward that at some point, which I'm hoping they will.
Yeah, agreed. Let's go to Minnesota versus Carolina. This was maybe even more a battle of the mid than Denver-Chicago. Nobody seemed to want to win this game, at least offensively. I think both defenses scored in this one. Kirk Cousins gave up, I think it was a fumble return touchdown. Bryce Young, I think, a pick return for a touchdown. No, that was also a fumble return touchdown. It was a whole shit show for the offenses in this one.
Yeah, Bryce Young kind of, continuing his tour of he shouldn't have been the quarterback picked first overall, really. Just continuing that. But I guess in terms of players who kind of still found some success, Adam Thielen still heavily featured in this offense. Somebody that I believe you brought up that was a good start for this week as well.
Yep.
Yeah. And then obviously, yeah. What's up?
No, I was just gonna say I did mention him, but I think I was more so off of Miles Sanders with the groin injury, and that turned out to work out as well.
Right. And then Justin Jefferson able to find a lot of success out there. Jordan Addison, however, not finding any. 1 target, no catches. What do we think about that right there? Because obviously KJ Osborne only 2 targets himself, so.
Yeah. Continues to run behind KJ Osborne, not out there on 2 wide receiver sets, which is ridiculous to me. I wish I had had more conviction on this take last week and said more about it on the channel. I thought that Jordan Addison should have been a sell high after last week. His production seems somewhat unsustainable just based on the usage. I think he's incredibly talented, and I think he deserves more usage, which could then lead to more consistent production. But based on what we've seen and what the team has planned for him, he can't sustain that level of production that we saw from him through the first 3 weeks. And yeah, it led to a goose egg this week. I certainly expect things to improve, but I'm definitely nervous going forward if things don't change soon.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And then also just another notable player that didn't really perform too much this week, TJ Hawkinson. Hoping for a bounce back next week, but I don't know. This was a weird game. Like you said, it was kind of a battle of the mid. Nobody was really getting it done this week.
Yeah, like Carolina, their defense has been good technically against quarterbacks and wide receivers because nobody has to pass against them. They just run. But this one, I don't know. The game script was weird. Like they couldn't run and they couldn't pass. I'm not sure what was going on with the Vikings in this game, but yeah, I'm hoping to just be able to throw this one away and expect different results next week.
Absolutely. Then moving on to the
Let's
next
go to-
game.
Yeah, probably what a lot of us thought was going to be the biggest game on the slate, and it did turn out to be probably the highest scoring. Buffalo versus Miami. I think we know who the leader of the NFC East is, and it is certainly Buffalo. Miami tried their best, but just couldn't really get anything going through the air. The only bright spot on their side of the ball was Devon Achane, or Achan. Is that how he pronounces it?
Yes, Devon Achane is how it's pronounced. I saw.
Achan.
Yeah.
But he seems to be taking the reins in this backfield now, man. Like he out-carried Raheem Mostert. They both got 5 targets, both got 3 receptions. Achan found the end zone twice. Raheem Mostert fumbled twice. So we could be seeing a changing of the guard here.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's what we're trying to see right here. And, the fact that we're giggling like little schoolgirls when they drafted Devon Achane kind of proves that they wanted to get him involved. And, 8 carries, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns is insane. That's insane efficiency. Is that going to be sustainable with him in the league? Who knows? But honestly, the fact he was this efficient in a loss is kind of crazy. You know what I mean? Like against Buffalo as well. This is no slouch of a defense whatsoever.
No, absolutely. They've been stuffing running backs left and right. They stuffed Raheem Mostert. They held him to 7 carries for 9 yards. So yeah, I don't know that we can necessarily predict this level of efficiency, but we saw it from him last week. We saw it from him this week in a much worse matchup. And that's his calling card. That's what he does. He's the big play merchant. So yeah, I'm incredibly excited if you were able to pick him up off of waivers, and I think he's probably at least an RB2 the rest of the way at this point.
Absolutely. At this point, I'm starting him with confidence, especially in this offense with the way they draw things up for these players. I love Devon Achane, honestly. I'm happy now that he's finally getting this opportunity, and I'm happy that he's finally doing something with it. Because to be honest, I was nervous. I was nervous for a little while, but he's doing it now.
He's absolutely doing it.
Then taking a look at the receiving side as well. Why do we keep doing that today?
I don't know. You know what it is?
What?
I've been traveling. I've been away. We haven't been in studio. We haven't been doing this together the past week and a half. It's on me. I'll take the brunt. The chemistry's not there.
Damn.
We'll be better.
Yeah, we're gonna get better, guys. I'm sorry about that. I'm a dickhead.
No, it's me.
Damn it.
It's me.
No,
but take the reins. Take the reins, Will. Where do we go next?
So we're taking a look at the receivers because Stephon Diggs did Stephon Diggs things. 6 catches, 7 targets, 120 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Gabe Davis also having a Gabe Davis-ass game. 3 catches, 61 yards, and a touchdown. Tyreek Hill kind of disappointing this week, though, as well as Jalen Waddle. What do you think about that right there? Just some bad luck and just a bad game? Or...
Yeah, so I'm not worried about Tyreek. We know that he's the focal point. We know that he is what carries this offense. Jalen Waddle, though, I am a little bit concerned. We've seen 4 straight weeks of down performances from him, and he's clearly playing second fiddle to Tyreek Hill. It's not switching on and off. It's not game script dependent. It's all Tyreek all the time. So in games like this, where they're not putting up 25, 30, even more than that points, there's not much left to go around. And so I think we could see a lot of games like this for Waddle. You're going to have your explosion games, and, you're going to have to take the good with the bad. But people that drafted him in the 2nd and 3rd rounds might be disappointed.
Yeah, I think you're right. When it comes to that, I think there's going to be more of the norm than just, a happenstance. He's going to be just playing second fiddle to Tyreek. But there are going to be weeks where he's going to be great. It's just a matter of when that's going to happen. So he's going to be very splash in terms of players.
Absolutely.
And then we're going to move over to across the pond, isn't it, to the old London game. We got the Jaguars.
Hey, Josh Allen, second highest scorer on the entire slate, 36 points. Just wanted to mention that.
That's what he's
all.
supposed to do.
It's true. It's true. That's true. But big
Nah,
game for Josh
it is
Allen.
a big game. It's a big game. But taking a look across the old poll, and then we got the Jacksonville Jaguars against the Falcons. Desmond Ridder doing his just worst impression of an NFL quarterback still. He's just not getting it done for this offense.
Bring in Taylor Heineke.
Honestly, at this point, if Taylor Heineke is the quarterback for this team, Kyle Pitts is a top 10 tight end in the league. And Drake
That's what I'm
London's
saying.
top 5. To be honest with you.
No doubt about it. Not even a question.
'Cause I don't know. For Bijan, it's great for Bijan. Bijan's out there getting it done, you know? Bijan gonna get it done regardless. You know what I'm saying? He's still getting his yards. He's not scoring. He's not finding the end zone a lot. But in terms of production,
Yeah.
he's out there and he's getting it done for this team.
I mean, when the team only scores 7 points a week, it's tough to find the end zone for anybody. But yeah, Bijan is the RB1 and the wide receiver 1 for this team. He currently leads the team in targets through 4 weeks by a considerable amount.
He actually didn't lead in targets this week. One person had more targets, or 2 people had more targets. Drake London had 2 more targets. He only had 3 catches. But Jonnu Smith, 6 for 6.
Yeah.
Why the hell is Jonnu Smith getting targets?
I don't know.
And Kyle Pitts has
I don't know what to
4. Jonnu Smith getting open more than Kyle Pitts? Is that what you're telling me? Is that what you're trying to tell
Well,
me?
okay, so let's be a little bit real, because I agree with you for the most part. Kyle Pitts definitely still not 100% off of the MCL injury. We've seen him running full speed, especially last week. We saw like a deep route that ended up getting thrown over his head, and his gait is just all messed up. Like he's not
Okay.
he's not running
at
full
100%.
speed right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna still kind of lean on that a little bit in
Okay.
terms of what we're seeing from Kyle Pitts. The usage obviously isn't. That's also hard to say. Like the usage isn't encouraging, but then if you look at like targets per route run data,
He's getting
and,
used.
like,
They're
air
throwing the
yards and
ball
stuff
his
like that,
direction. Desmond Ritter's just fucking terrible at his job. So.
it's just so bad, dude. Please bring in Taylor Heineke.
And then Evan Ingram, I believe one of my starts for the week. Mr. Evan Ingram able to
That was
perform.
all you, bro.
7 catches off of 8 targets for 59 yards. Not able to find the end zone, but still a successful week from the tight end position for sure.
Yep. Let's talk about these wide receivers, man. Calvin Ridley bails himself out with a touchdown, but only 2 targets, 2 receptions, 38 yards, all I think in the first quarter, and then after that he did basically nothing. Christian Kirk ended up outproducing him, 12 targets, 8 receptions, and 84 yards. We talked about how it's going to depend on the coverages. Like when we see man coverage, you're going to see bigger games for Calvin Ridley. When we see zone coverage, other way around. Man coverage beater is Christian Kirk.
Right.
Right? Do I have this backwards? I think I have that right. But either way, coverages are going to be what's going to kind of differentiate these two. And we saw that again for Christian Kirk with a 40% target share in this game. Are you concerned about Calvin Ridley going forward, or is this enough to kind of keep you encouraged with the touchdown that he'll be okay?
It's enough for me that at least they are looking for him in those scoring opportunities to say that like they are going to look for him. He's not going to ever be a total 0 in the game in terms of opportunity. But, you know, the fact that it is seeming like he is a little bit scheme dependent does make me a little nervous. But in terms of starting him, I'm still going to be starting him on a week to week because he still is someone that the team is looking towards. It's just whether the scheme fits him, I guess, at this point now.
Yeah. Here, so because what I said was a little confusing, here's a tweet from JJ Zachariason on Twitter. The Jags have faced 2 teams who rank in the bottom 5 in man coverage rate this year entering week 4. Christian Kirk saw a 9.4% and 15% target share in those games. They've faced 2 teams that rank in the top 5 in man coverage rate this year. Kirk's target rates in those games, 34% and 40%. So very dependent on the coverage that they face. If you can find data on that heading into each week, I think that that's going to be very beneficial for you in deciding who to start between these 2.
Absolutely. Damn. Right down to the analytics, man. You got to trust the data, man. Do numbers.
And then, do numbers. And then the last game on the slate here, all the way back to the Thursday night game. I'm sure you guys have heard this broken down a little bit already. But let's talk about it real quickly. David Montgomery with the huge 33-point game, 32 carries, 121 yards, 3 touchdowns, and also a little bit through the air as well. What is your opinion on the state of this backfield?
Well, we just gonna hand the ball off to David Montgomery hella times. We just gonna give it to him. He gonna get us about 3.9. You can win the game all 3.9. You just gonna keep giving it to him. He gonna go out there. He gonna run that ball. He gonna score. I know he said he was hurt. But we said, David, we need you out there. We gonna get you the ball. You gonna score, and that's what they did. So that's my take on David Montgomery for this team.
Can, can we put that in the beginning of the video? Can we lead with that? That was so good. Oh, that was so good. And spot on too. Like that's exactly how the looking at it with David. There's no question in my mind that they're just like, put it in his gut and we're gonna win the game. Our offensive line is too good. He's too big. What are you gonna do to stop us?
You're gonna give him the ball. He gonna run that ball. He gonna score the ball. It's just that simple.
All right, can we get your opinion on Jahmyr Gibbs?
Oh man, so I think they kind of hate this guy. To be honest though, being real honest, he's still able to go out there and get done with the opportunity that he's got. So he is still an explosive player that's making it happen. I just think they really like the style of player that David Montgomery kind of provides, especially in those games where they can just ride the running back like they were for this one. They've proven they're just going to do that if they can. And David Montgomery...
This is what they did all of last year. He's playing the Jamal Williams role, but he's better than Jamal Williams. Jahmyr Gibbs is playing the DeAndre Swift role, and he's about the same as DeAndre Swift. This is just, I guess, what we should expect. I'm trying to think of like what can I say to be encouraged about Jahmyr Gibbs? Like you said, in the opportunity that he's given, he's been efficient. He looks good, but I don't see why the role would change if they're going to continue to have success. Like this team, the defense is better than we expected, and I think that's huge because we expected them to be explosive offensively, score a lot of points, but I thought they were going to be in shootouts, playing catch up, whatever the case was. But their defense is shutting teams down, so game script is just like, give it to David Montgomery and we'll finish this thing out.
Yeah, so if they're not fighting in games like that, like they're not getting these dog fights like you're saying, like the offenses looked great, the defenses looked really, really good. It's tough to be optimistic because it seems like that's the kind of role that they want to fit Jahmyr Gibbs into, you know? Like there have been the games we've seen him get targeted 9 times. This one he still got 5 targets, but they weren't really 5 valuable targets because it was just, clock grinding, a lot of stuff just throwing screens to see what'll happen. Nothing really putting him in a spot where he can make a play like they said that they were going to have him all over the field. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. So that kind of sucks. Sorry if you took our advice and drafted him in the 3rd round. He's still going to be productive. Like I think he's a flex play moving forward, but he's certainly not worth the draft capital that you probably had to invest in him. Real quickly, to finish out Detroit's side of the ball, Amon-Ra continues to get it done. Again, in this game script, they didn't need him a ton, but he still found the end zone. He was still the main target. 14 points. You love to see it. And your boy, once again, Sammy Ballgame getting it done.
Sammy Football, dog. He's just been an asset for this team for sure. And he was looking really, really good after the catch this game as well. It looks like he is starting to catch some of that confidence because he was looking dangerous after the catch this week. So I love how he's progressing and coming along. And I guess on the other side, Luke Musgrave went down with an injury this week. I believe was it a hamstring or I know he was coming off a concussion. Actually.
Yeah, concussion early on in the game, so he only got 1 reception. Unfortunate because he was off to a hot start. We'll see how long he's out with that.
Yeah. And then looking at the receivers on the Green Bay side of the ball, Romeo Doubs proven to be a big part of this offense with 13 targets, even with Christian Watson out there. Christian Watson able to be bailed out by a touchdown, still able to find some success, but
worth noting that he was on a snap count. Him and Aaron Jones were both limited in their snap count for this game, returning from injury. So I don't think their usage is necessarily indicative of what it's going to be going forward. But yeah, very encouraging still for Dobbs here. Jaden Reed was also looking really good. He's been fantastic through the first 4 weeks of the season. I want to talk about Jordan Love. I still don't buy it.
Hmm?
Even though he bailed himself out at the end of this one again to have a decent fantasy day, I don't think he's good, man. I don't think that this is going to continue to persist this way.
No, I can be honest with you. Especially, I'm looking now. 2 carries for -2 yards and a touchdown. That's funny. I just love stats like that. But yeah, I can definitely see where it can kind of look like smoke and mirrors. But he looks like he plays the part of a good quarterback. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
I'm not quite ready to throw him out yet because he is still producing. But I do see where a lot of your doubt comes from because he isn't exactly like the sharpest quarterback out there. He's not quite making plays or doing anything game changing to the point where it's like, oh yeah, this dude's out here. He's really thinking for himself. The coaching staff is putting him in really good positions. But him as a
Absolutely.
player himself, I don't see the it factor, like you said.
Yeah. And then the only thing else that I have to say is AJ Dillon is absolutely dust. You need to cut him, get him off your team for team morale, really. Like, he shouldn't be around your players. It's a bad idea.
Yeah, he's just gonna drag down your whole team. They might not even be on the same team. They could be complete. They might not even know each other in real life, but he is gonna drag your whole team down, and just your spirit.
Absolutely. And your spirit. All right. I think that's a good way to end things. AJ Dillon bringing down your spirit. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys stuck with us till the end. If there's anything that we missed and you guys want to point it out, leave it in the comments below. We would always love to engage with you. We respond to everything. So if we missed anything, if we didn't hype up a guy that you want to talk about enough, put it down there. And then if you want to have a deeper discussion as well, check the links in the description for our Discord. You can join the community over there. We got a good group of people already in there, so you can talk to them, talk to us. We can have a great time. But yeah, and then as far as the YouTube stuff, like we talked about at the beginning, if you guys could please subscribe to the channel, we're trying to grow. It's free and easy to do for you guys. Hit that like button, notification bell, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, that's all I got. Will, you got anything, people?
Just make sure you guys check out those other links down in the description below for all of our sponsors over at Dynasty Owner, over at the League Winners with our partners and other content creators for all your fantasy football needs, and in conjunction with them, Sleeper for all your DFS needs. So use our promo code FFLW for a 100% deposit match up to $100. And also check out our other sponsor at Do Numbers for some cool merchandise, gear, hoodies, clothing, all of those things of that nature. So just check out those links down in the description below. And as always, if you guys made it this far into the video, we love you, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.